Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Yeah, this for my dogs from the east to the west side. You rockin' brown and orange with me, baby. Let's ride. Represent the land. Let them know. Tell them, here we go, brownies. Here we go. Yeah, here we go.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. I'm Allie Heisman, coming to you live from Pensacola, Florida this time around. And as always, we've got Dustin out in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. Dustin, what's going on?
Well, Allie, what a night. We are down here in downtown Cleveland on Euclid Avenue, but we didn't even talk about this prior to this. We tried to get people down here, but guess what they did, Allie? They blocked off 6 blocks right in front of this building today to start filming more scenes of Superman. Yes, this city has turned into Superman. They're all over the place. They finally opened it up at like 6:45, but it's been raining, so it's kind of weird. Allie, as you know, I used to do the show a lot from Boise, Idaho, right? So guess what the temperature in Boise, Idaho is today? It's 80-something in Cleveland. Today, Boise is 108 right about now. 108 degrees in Boise, Idaho. There are hundreds every single day out there. I'm like, you know what? I don't miss that. I don't miss it's dry heat because trust me, I sweat like no other out here in the humidity because I'm not used to it. But it has been crazy weather out here. It's weird. The humidity, you don't get really hot summers here. Like you get pleasant summers here. But more importantly, how are you dealing with the humidity? I mean, you already got humidity in North and South Carolina. But what about that Florida humidity? That's a whole nother level.
It's Pensacola. So for anybody that doesn't know, I just recently moved. We're down here in Pensacola, Florida. So that's why I'm not my normal studio setup. Instead, I'm literally in my dining room. So it sounds a little echoey. I don't have I don't have my lights, my microphone, because they're in boxes. So bear with me tonight. But it is awesome. It's definitely a different level of humidity, Dustin. I thought I was used to it in North and South Carolina. You come down here. I did my hair for the show, and it's already up because there's just simply no way. There's no way. It's hot. It's humid. It's wet. It's rainy. It's wonderful. It's great. I mean, we're feeling all the things here. So it's good. It's been kind of chaotic. We're living out of boxes and suitcases currently, but that's moving for you. So we got in on Sunday night, like late Sunday night, and we're just still trying to get caught up and get bounced back. But everything's good. Everything's good over here.
Allie, let's just talk about our newest sponsor. I tell you, how exciting is this? We'll go around the room here in a little bit. But we have a bunch of the Here We Go Brownies fans down here actually taking in free golf. If you're tuning in right now, you can still come down for the next hour and a half, play free golf on Here We Go Brownies. So we got 3 bays open here. People are swinging the golf carts. But you can see I'm literally in a bay, literally in a golf bay here at 5 Iron Golf. So we're really excited to partner with them. And Allie, I haven't even told you this, but if you mention Brownie 40, Brownie with the letter Brownie, BROWNIE 40, you get 40% off your monthly membership here at 5 Iron Golf. That's half off, almost half off a month's golf here. That's a great deal. So it's a lot of fun. We're just sitting down here. Larry's, hitting balls around here, having fun. We got Ray Show Dogs down here. Kevin Dickerson, is actually his birthday. He had dinner and now he's down here with his lovely lady. But it's been fun, Allie. When you're in town, you and the doctor.
David,
no. Well, I was saying, because you always call him the doctor. So I was like, David and yourself have to come in here and check this place out because I think you guys would love this. Full bar, food. It's great. So.
All right. Well, here's the real test. Here's the real test. And we've got to do it for the marketing, right? We got to boost 5 Iron Golf. And by doing that, you have to get up and go hit a golf ball on camera. I think that's what has to happen right now. Dustin's got to go hit a golf ball live on the pod.
Live on the camera right now?
Live on the pod. That's
oh boy. All right.
That's what 5 Iron wants. That's what they said.
All right. So here's what we're gonna do. Allie told me how to mute myself, so I'm gonna mute myself and I'm gonna go do that. Okay. We're gonna do it right now.
Go on your phone and go do that.
Okay.
All right, do it right now. All right. I will talk for a moment. Because we all need to see Dustin's golf swing. If he is going to be at 5 Iron Golf with all of these, the Clevelanders there in town, he's talking about Superman. He's got all this going on. We got to see the golf swing. So he's getting his phone. He's going to set up from a different angle, and we got to we got to judge what Dustin's got going on. So once he does come back on and he's swinging a golf club, everybody drop your rating of his golf swing in the comments. But we're really excited to be back. I've taken nearly 3 weeks off from the podcast, so I barely remember how to do this. I barely remember how to talk about the Cleveland Browns, but we are going to get into it later on in the show. We're going to get some burning questions as it pertains to the Cleveland Browns, as it pertains to the NFL, and some of the components on whether or what could potentially make the Browns successful this season, or what could be the detriment to the Cleveland Browns. So we're going to talk about that. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, this is the perfect time to drop it in the comments to get that answered live on the camera. We've got a hand here. I saw that. I don't know if anybody saw that. Here in just a moment, we are going to bring on Dr. David Ullery to the program to talk about the medical moment. Actually, we're just going to do that now because I need somebody to talk to. So we're going to bring David onto the program because, one, I need somebody to talk to. Filling dead air is just really difficult. And two, David, we got to see Dustin's golf swing together.
All right.
We got him back.
All right. Are we ready to do this?
Let's do it.
All right. I got to turn.
Look at his name.
I gotta turn that camera. No,
Oh my God.
Dustin Shooter McGavin.
All right, let's see it.
You're giving me a right-handed.
Here, turn the camera around.
What's up? You're left-handed?
Turn the camera around.
Is he left-handed?
All right.
Is he using the wrong clubs?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right. Camera around.
can you turn it around?
That's the weird thing. I can't.
Okay, you might not. I don't know if you're able to. There we go.
There you go. That's good.
Yep. All right, let's see what we got. I'm going to kick Dustin here. Actually, let me see if I can do this.
I've already screwed it up. Hold on. Don't drop it.
All right.
There it is.
What do we got? What do we got? What's the ball going to do?
You gotta take
All right. What did we get, Dustin?
Almost on the green.
What's
Almost
that?
All right, not bad.
Not bad.
too bad.
All right, now here now Larry's gonna do a real quick one. Ready? Here we go.
All right, let's see.
Can you see Larry?
We got him.
All right, Larry. Larry golfs almost every day. So this
Hitting a hybrid?
Looks like it.
Ooh.
Right.
Oh,
That's
nice.
nice. That was nice. Oh, nice shot.
Oh, I am mistaken. That was not the green. That was the red tee box.
Yep.
Okay. How many yards was that? 120. All right.
Oh, that's comedy. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, we'll see another one, and
Ooh,
perfect. Beautiful.
That is straight.
Oh, that's a nice shot.
Yep.
That's
He
pretty
knows what he's
cool.
doing.
Look at that.
That is pretty cool. All right, with that, we are going to turn it over to Lorello Vineyards. We're going to play a quick ad from them, and then we're going to get straight into the medical moment. Dustin, we'll see you back at your chair. All right, let's get into it. Here's a quick word from our sponsor, Lorello Vineyards.
Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof.
Hello, welcome to Lorello Vineyards, Larry and Kim Lorello. We have a beautiful Here We Go Brownies wine that we would like to offer to you this season as we did last season. We have several other award-winning wines, lovely entertainment and events coming this summer. So come and see us, wine a bit, you'll feel better.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Muni lot this fall. Go Browns.
All right, let's get into it. Let me change the layout here. There we go. Dustin, you are muted. Just so you know, unmute yourself there. But let's get into it. The medical moment brought to you by our friends at Lorello Vineyards. David, welcome back from Florida.
Thank you. It's good to be back, and it's good to be in Florida.
I know it's been a while since we've done this. I feel like I kind of forgot.
I feel like Allie hasn't done a show in a month. Wait, maybe.
I've not done it. So I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, Dr. David Ullery, I'm turning it over to you. What are we talking about tonight?
Well, just as you guys alluded to earlier, or maybe even off air, not a whole lot going on in the NFL currently. Probably one of the more dead weeks of the season, or the off season, I should say. Same goes for any kind of injury news. I mean, there's no real updates, and we won't really get anything more until we start hitting training camp and then get into preseason here in the next month or month and a half. I mean, from my standpoint, one of the things I wanted to bring up, just because there was an article recently coming out about Nick Chubb, just, it's kind of a recurring topic, but I think it's probably the most prominent injury on everyone's minds. Anybody who's a Browns fan or just a fan of the NFL and running backs, we know how important he is to this league and this team, and everybody wants to see him healthy and recover. So there's an article floating around that was talking about how good he looked at like the mini training camp, and even if he wasn't necessarily practicing, he was participating in some drills and moving around. And that knee didn't look stiff. It didn't look like it was holding him up. It didn't look like he was lagging or anything. And so all very encouraging. And we've seen the videos of him running around the track and doing some other exercises. And he's getting back into some pretty heavy powerlifting, it seems, too, or strength training, I should say. And all those are good signs. They're all pointing in the right direction. And so one of the things I guess I wanted to talk about, or at least maybe caution or help manage some expectations, is that, I've said, pretty consistently that I anticipate maybe an October start in October or November, maybe appearance for him. That being said, just because he's appearing at a certain time doesn't mean he is totally game ready, game shape. You can't replicate that. We've talked about that before with the preseason and everything else. You cannot replicate what it's like to play in an NFL game and live action. And so let's say miraculously he's ready in September. Maybe it's not week 1, maybe it's week 2. He's suited up and ready to go. If he's even getting any touches or carries, it's minimal. He's going to be on a short leash. He's going to be on a pitch count. And if we actually do say like, hey, he's cleared, he's given the green light to play in September, he's really not going to be full speed until probably October. And then kind of, translating that, let's say it's not till October he gets a green light. We're not looking till probably December or January until he's actually full speed, ready to go. And so don't expect to see a full 17-game season out of him this year. It's just not. It's not realistic and it's not likely, but I think there's a good chance based on his recovery at this point that we will see him. And at least by the end of this year, this calendar year, he should be hopefully fully game ready and getting the normal amount of carries he would get pre-injury. And so I want fans to keep that in mind. Just because he gets the green light and is cleared from his medical doctor to return to play does not mean that first game afterwards he's getting 30 touches. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, almost like a pitch count, right? And when it comes to bringing a running back, obviously he's not going to come in on full speed with the game. So let me ask you this, David. This has been a lot of the talk as well. It looks like Deshaun Watson's full go. They've taken he's going to be full go during training camp. I know we talked about this, and that's what everybody's going to be, what a lot of people here in the city say, and you heard a lot. Is he going to play a full season? They're worried, right? Is he going to be durable enough to play a full season? It seems like he's come back full. It was a very weird injury, as we know, to begin with, and it was kind of like a very unique one when it comes to even quarterbacks getting that type of injury. But what do you see as prognosis coming into the season now? And do you think he can be full 17 games? Because that's the biggest burning question here in Cleveland is, can Deshaun withstand a 17-game season coming after that injury?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, there's some vehicles going by on my side. I anticipate that he should be game ready week 1. And I know we said it a lot last season. It seemed like there's a lot of rust, and he was just kind of knocking it off. And I think this year we will determine if it truly was rust or if he's just lost that step, lost that mentality to play quarterback in the NFL. Either way, he should be ready to go week 1. Now, it may be a slow start. But there's no reason to believe that he will be on a pitch count. As long as he continues the trajectory he's on, throwing the way he is, practicing, lifting, working out the way he is, there should be no reason to limit the amount of throws or snaps that he's taking because his bone's fully healed. Bone is healed, shoulder stable. Now it's just about getting in condition. And, I mean, that's probably been 2 months now since he's been given the green light to start throwing and conditioning and strengthening. And so you give him another month and a half until the weekend after Labor Day, and almost 2 months actually, he should be good to go. And I would expect we should, barring any other setbacks or injuries, see him for every game this season. Otherwise,
I'll throw this one at you, David. And I know that we were talking about what to discuss tonight on the pod, and we really couldn't come up with much. But I know I didn't prep you for this one, but just to kind of talk about this because it is relevant to the Browns. Joe Burrow. Reports saying that he put on roughly 15 pounds this offseason. I want to talk a little bit about that, gaining weight, obviously building muscle, right? What that can do for his durability, but also the whole wrist injury with him. I know that there was so many question marks surrounding Joe Burrow, and we've talked about it. We had a whole show dedicated to that, to his injury specifically. But, as we kind of progress closer to the season, what is the real concern that Joe Burrow doesn't get back to Joe Burrow?
Yeah, I'm still kind of waiting cautiously for Joe Burrow and kind of seeing how he's going to recover from this. This is not a common injury. This is not an injury that we see in quarterbacks, especially for throwing hand. This is a big time injury, and I'm not holding my breath to say that he's going to be fully 100%. He may lose some velocity, he may lose some strength or some power, and he very well could recover from it too. Again, these are professional athletes with all the resources available in the world to them, and so if anybody's going to do it, he's one who would. But this is something that can be absolutely career altering, and putting on weight, putting on some muscle mass is absolutely important and beneficial to protecting somebody from injury. Obviously, that's not going to really make a difference in his hand or his wrist. You don't put muscle on there. It's just bones and tendons, and some muscles in your hand, but those are minimal in terms of actually gaining mass. But for his other extremities, for his overall just wear and tear and longevity, absolutely putting on muscle mass and a little bit more padding can definitely make you more durable from just a bumps and bruises kind of standpoint. And so from that standpoint, if his offensive line is no better than it has been in years past and he still gets sacked a ton, then yeah, that should help him out a little bit. But it's more about the volume of hits that you take. And so if the offensive line is still giving up a bunch of sacks, he's likely still going to be prone to some kind of injury. But again, his wrist is really the biggest concern at this point, and he claims that he's back to throwing and feels good about it. But again, you cannot replicate game action at all until you're playing in games. So I'm gonna cautiously anticipate his return and hope he gets back to it. I mean, you want to see a competitor compete, and you want to be a guy of success, but not making any promises for his sort of recovery.
So, real quick, our friend George posted a comment here. If high school kids come back from injury, why does the NFL go to heal?
Yeah, I actually saw that right when you guys were asking a question about Joe. I saw George post that. Just going through the rest of them. I think James is onto something in his response. He said they're older, so it takes longer to heal. Just his thinking, and certainly that is true. That's relevant. You think about high school kids, especially freshman, sophomore, junior boys, even some seniors. Some of them are still growing. They're not skeletally mature, as we refer to. Their growth plates are still open. They still have a lot of growth hormones circulating in their bodies, and so they do recover faster. They heal better. And I think the other part is maybe some of those injuries aren't as serious. Obviously, an ACL tear is an ACL tear, no matter how you look at it or how you frame it. And so we still anticipate full year recovery for a high school athlete as much as a professional athlete. But with certain injuries, there's a likely chance or propensity for younger kids to get back to it because they heal faster. I mean, in orthopedics, we always like to say that kids make us look good because they heal and they remodel. It's amazing. I can show you pictures of x-rays of 5, 6, even 10-year-old kids who had a broken bone. It wasn't treated with surgery. It was kind of crooked in a cast. 6 months later, that bone is straight and healed. The body finds ways to remodel these bones and get them back to where they're supposed to be without us doing much. And so kids make us look good as physicians and surgeons. And so they just heal faster and their body has more healing potential than fully grown adults do.
Interesting. Dustin, you got anything else for the doctor tonight?
Yeah, Larry came over and said, tell the doctor I say hello and Godspeed in Pensacola is what he said.
Thank you for that, Larry. Hello to you as well.
I got to tell you guys, when you come up here, you guys got to go out to the winery and take all of it in. I think you guys would love it up there.
Absolutely.
So yeah. By the way, he lives 6 months out of the year in Florida on the west side. So maybe you guys will have to figure out and get some golf in. That might be some kind of fun thing to do a golf game and figure out a time. So I'm going to manifest that since he's down in Florida from basically January to April, May. So
I would love to play golf with Larry Lorella. That sounds
That'd be great.
Time.
I would enjoy that too.
Perfect. All right, David, thanks for joining. We appreciate you. Go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.
All right, that is Dr. David Ullery. Had to kick him because I need him to come up here and get these dogs. I had to keep muting myself because they are just being absolute heathens tonight. So I need him to come back up into the kitchen and get Birdie and Lido straightened out.
So question, was that a greenhouse that he's in?
We've got a pool and it is enclosed. It's in an enclosed area.
Mm-hmm. Enclosed. So it's like a glass ceiling. Okay.
It is. They're all screens, actually.
Oh, really? Well, that's true. It's natural air in
Yep.
Florida, so that makes sense.
Yep. We've
Nice.
got greens, and it's very nice. Nice to be out there.
I know you muted me there. People are having a good time
We're
here,
having a
partying
good
and swinging a golf club.
That's good. That's what we want. All right, that was the Medical Minute brought to you by our friends over at Lorello Vineyards. Dustin, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about our friends over at City Barbecue.
Oh, Allie, I can't say enough about these folks. I went over to Medina, by the way, this weekend and visited the folks over at the Medina location, and I feel like I just got an aluminum tin with 6 pounds of meat on it. I got to try all the different meats, the kielbasa, the chicken, the beef brisket, the burnt ends. I mean, they had it all, Allie. 7 locations in the greater Northeast Ohio area here. They got one in Strongsville, Medina, anywhere basically in the burbs of Ohio, you have a City Barbecue. But it's amazing. It's great barbecue. The folks are amazing people to work with. They're really promoting their party packs right now. So if you want to come in and bring the family, you got soccer games, you got t-ball, you got something that's kind of, you're too busy to get out there and take care of the, it's just, everybody gets busy, right? So you go out, you get some food, get the catering, you have a business or whatever. They're really pushing that. But yeah, check them out. City Barbecue, 7 locations in greater Northeast Ohio.
Yeah, there you go. Go check them out while you're at it. If you are looking for food and you're just like, hey, I'm not feeling barbecue tonight, that's okay. Also, check out our friends over at Teresa's Pizza. If you're feeling a little Italian, maybe pair it with some Lorello Vineyards wine. Head on over to one of their locations, Teresa's Pizza. They just do it right there. It's great right there in the store. You can take it home. It's fresh baked daily. They have their family recipe sauce on top of that. So be sure to check out Teresa's Pizza. All right, let's get into it.
And as I say, University Heights and Mayfield Heights locations for those two for Teresa's Pizza.
Yes, go check them out. Okay, let's get into it. Let's talk some Cleveland Browns football. We've got some burning questions to get to tonight. And, look, Dustin, there's just not a lot to talk about when it comes to the Cleveland Browns right now.
Speaking of Browns, guess whose birthday it is today, Allie?
I believe it is Chief David Njoku's birthday today.
It is our friend of the program, David Njoku's birthday. Where's he at tonight? He should be down here playing some 5-iron golf. He's probably somewhere warmer and a little nicer. Yeah. He's probably in Miami. Quite frankly, he's probably in Miami right now.
Probably Miami. All right, let's get into some burning questions. I'm going to kick it off. These are just questions pertaining to the Cleveland Browns, pertaining to the NFL, just some questions, right? This is what we've got. So if you've got anything you want us to answer, drop it in the comments. Let's get into it. My first question for you, Dustin, first conversation point here is which offseason acquisition will have the most immediate impact, whether that's via the draft, free agency, which new Cleveland Brown is going to have the most immediate impact?
New Cleveland Brown?
Cleveland Brown. New acquisition, drafted player or a free agent?
Oh, boy, that's a tough question. Can I answer it twofold? I'll answer both for you.
Sure.
Free agency, Jerry Jeudy. I think Jerry Jeudy was brought into this program. He's young. He will fit in. I think he was just in the wrong fit there. There was a lot of funky stuff going on in Denver. It wasn't a good fit. I think he's a good fit for this offense. I think he'll be great. And on the other side, Mike Hall. I think he's going to make a great contribution to this Cleveland Browns, to that rotation and fit in and fight for playing time. So those are the two people that I think the Browns need to be looking out for, as Mike Hall and Jerry Jeudy, to see how they excel this year, and the chemistry that, of course, Jerry Jeudy builds, and that'll all come with Deshaun Watson. But I do think there's some chemistry there. They'll have a good game. But I think those are going to be the two things that I think will be the most improved and burning questions.
Yeah, I think, okay, there's a couple of different ways that you can answer this, right? I think the way that you approach this question is appropriate. Jerry Jeudy is obviously going to have a very immediate impact, especially with the question marks surrounding the future of Amari Cooper, what that's going to look like and what role he's going to play. Jerry Jeudy you're going to feel his presence right away. Ooh, look at that behind you. You're going to feel that right away. On a separate note, yes, Mike Hall is going to have an immediate impact, especially on the defensive line, because you're just going to feel it. Like, he's just a beast of a human being. You're going to notice. Now, is he going to be an immediate, starter? No, maybe not. But a rotational piece that you're going to notice throughout the season, yes. I'm going to take it kind of in a little bit of a different direction. I'm going to go running backs. With the question marks surrounding Nick Chubb, if he's going to be available, you're going to notice Deontay Foreman. You're going to notice Nyheim Hines. They're going to have an immediate impact on this football team. a little bit more of the pass catcher out of the backfield. Dante Foreman, he's kind of your just more of a power back, if you will. So you're definitely going to notice their presence early and often because we don't know the status of Nick Chubb. May be available, but may not be full Nick Chubb. So I'm going to kind of go in that direction. You could also kind of convince me that actually this you're going to notice this player too, and that's Jordan Hicks, the linebacker. Especially not having Anthony Walker Jr. there. I definitely foresee Jeremiah Usu-Koromoa having a big year this season. I mean, last year's upward trajectory. I think this is his breakout season. But hearing him with Jordan Hicks, I think is going to be just phenomenal. But another one being Jameis Winston, right? I think depending on what happens with Deshaun Watson, if he does have rust and it's not good, I can see a world where Jameis gets snaps, and that's the case. Or just as history has shown us, Deshaun hasn't been the most durable in the past couple of seasons. Will we see him? So I think all of these players, there's a lot of players that are going to have an impact early, and I think we can go in any direction there. All right, turning it over to you. What do you got?
So I'm going to stay within the division. Burning question: at what point is Fields the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
All right, let me pull up the schedule. I think so. What they're doing in Pittsburgh, they've got what's his name, Arthur Smith, right? The offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, coming from Atlanta. Big option guy. I think that we're going to see a lot of Justin Fields, but maybe not as the starting quarterback. I think you can have kind of I'm not of the belief that two quarterbacks systems are good. Let's say
especially in the NFL,
It doesn't typically work out. But I could see where Justin Fields gets significant playing time, and if he is successful in kind of the run game as well, being a threat there, could definitely see them favoring that over Russ, who can also be elusive and make plays. But I mean, let's answer the question, as you asked it, at what point is he the starter? I think, let's see.
Bye week?
I mean, maybe even a little sooner. I think there's a world here where, Broncos, Chargers at home, like that's a possibility. I could see a world where that.
The irony.
I know, that's why I said that. No, I think Russ will definitely be starting or in Denver September 15th. He definitely will be. But I mean, bye week I think is totally doable. But I could also, on completely separate note, see a world where this just revives Russ's career and he has the best season that he's ever played. I could see that. I hate it. That makes me want to vomit even thinking about it. But I could see a world where that happens also. What do you think?
Yeah, and for me, it's kind of weird what they're doing in Pittsburgh, right? Because they went out. It's almost like they got Russ because they knew they could get a great deal for him, and then Fields became available, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to do both," right? And I just don't know what to do. It's just very, very weird, right? To me, it's just bizarre. So I see it. If things are going down a bad path after, we'll call it 4 weeks, Tomlin, he's not a dumb coach. He's one of the smartest in the NFL. He's going to make the decision. He's probably going to go up to the front office and say, look, you gave me both these guys. I'm coming in, and I'm going to make the decision. And that's what you paid me to do, to make the tough calls. And I think he makes that call and moves forward. I think Russ got a raw deal in Denver. I still don't think Pittsburgh's the right fit for him. I just think Pittsburgh was willing to take him. I hate to say that, but Pittsburgh was willing to take him, and it was friendly for both teams, and that's where he landed. So if I'm Russell Wilson, I've got to look at this as my last chance in the National Football League. And if I'm going to legitimately, make a go of my career and try to be here for 2 or 3 years, I have to play like I'm 10 points behind, like they say in an election, right? Run like you're 10 points behind. I think he needs to practice and have the mentality like he's not the starter this year. It's not given. It's not, he has to earn the job in camp. In his mind, I think he has to play like that if he wants to keep this job the rest of the season, period.
Yeah. Please play future at our stadium. I could see a world where the Browns media team can pull that off. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the future for Russ looks like if he continues to, decline. I think he's such a big personality, a weird personality, that he can't be like a backup, right? I think that would be tough for any other team. So I don't know. I mean, luckily it's not our problem, and we hope to see the Steelers implode. And I love the fact that they have but to play devil's advocate here, like I can also see a world where they both thrive in this situation. Like it's possible. So I don't know. That's a really good question. I'm so curious to see how this situation plays out. But turning it back to the Cleveland Browns, my question for you: outside of Myles Garrett, who was the most important defensive player for the Cleveland Browns?
Say that I didn't catch the last part. Who was other than Myles Garrett?
Yeah, who is the most important defensive player for the Cleveland Browns, not named Myles Garrett?
JOK.
Really?
Defensive player, you're saying, right?
Player, yeah.
Yeah, because I think he brings a mental. What I've found from being around him personally and watching him professionally, to me, he's kind of like the Nick Chubb of the defense. He's quiet. He does his leadership on the field. He speaks with his game. And I think when JOK, and like you said, you just brought it up. You think JOK is going to make a huge leap this year.
I do, yeah.
And so to me, yeah, he is the most important, because when you're in a playoff game, you need a guy like JOK that can calm the guys around him right there in that space and say, we're going to be okay. You're sitting there looking at all those guys out there, being the field general on the side of the defense. I think it's JOK. I really do, because I think he's the most important piece. And because there isn't a lot of depth behind him, and he's such an important piece to our defense over there. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. I think it's a little bit of a bold, it's not really bold, because I mean, JOK, yes, he's so important to what this team is and the identity of the defense. But I mean, my gut it's Denzel Ward. When he's healthy, right? When he is a healthy player, he is a top 5 corner in the league, in my opinion. Now, that's the issue. It's when he's healthy. When he's not available, this team really, really suffers. But I think those two guys, JOK, Denzel Ward, are big time in this conversation. You can make a really strong case for Grant Delpit in a lot of ways, and having that safety room. I would say maybe the safety room as a whole, rather than just Grant Delpit, is so.
I was going to say, the way Martin Emerson came
Yeah.
on last year,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a guy that I think could be a Pro Bowler in the very near future. That guy, I don't think he got enough credit last year. If you look at the stats out there, I don't have them in front of me, but when it was thrown his way, it was kind of lights out on his side of the ball. So it'd be interesting to see Martin Emerson, but I think Martin Emerson again can make that big leap this year as well. I mean, that's definitely one of those guys.
Yep, definitely agree. Real quick, guys, if you don't have Stadium Mustard in your kitchen this season, you're doing it wrong. The iconic brand, the iconic taste, beloved from ballparks to backyards and everywhere in between. Stadium Mustard is a smooth brown mustard, rich in both taste and tradition. By the way, it's loved by millions, so be sure to head on over to stadiummustard.com to shop now. All right, what you got?
So, Allie, my burning question is to you. Does Tillman make the jump and make the leap that we think he needs to make at wide receiver and be the player that we've drafted him?
Okay, so I think we need to identify what was the hope in what, when we drafted Cedric Tillman. Was he to replace Amari Cooper? Was he to be the next wide receiver threat, the next Josh Gordon? I don't think so, right? Like, that's not who he is. Frankly, I think we drafted him to replace Donovan Peoples-Jones. Kind of a similar build. You let him go. You think that Cedric Tillman's going to take that step up, and he didn't.
Right.
I mean, frankly, did not. Struggled big time his rookie year, especially pre-snap. caused a lot of penalties. Really got to get that ironed out. But the good thing is that's not a talent related issue. That's just a coaching thing. So if we can get that ironed out, you've got a very talented player in Cedric Tillman. And I think that, yes, we will see him take a huge step this year. However, this is a pretty crowded wide receiver room, especially, if we can work things out with Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy. Think about it. You still have guys that are on the cusp outside of Cedric Tillman. You've got David Bell, Mike Woods, Elijah Moore. This is a pretty crowded room. And I think we can also consider David Njoku to be kind of a wide receiver in a lot of ways, especially when we're just talking about the pass catchers. He gets a lot of targets for a tight end. So I think we need to just kind of identify, okay, who do we expect Cedric Tillman to become? And I think it was to be that big-bodied athletic receiver. And to answer your question, yeah, I think he can become that. I don't think he's going to be a top-tier receiver in the league in the next few years. Part of that based off of just room in that room, essentially. But I think he can be a serviceable player, definitely. What do you think?
And for me, I think he does. Mine is I don't know if he does, but my question to you, what I think he needs to make that jump.
Yeah,
because to your point, well, because you're right, it is a crowded wide receiver room. If you bring over Jerry Jeudy, that's got to have to be kind of an opening. Like, hey, look, they don't bring a guy over and pay him that money to sit on the bench, right? He's going to start. He's going to get an opportunity. That means I have to step up my game if I'm Cedric, right? Like I have to look in the mirror and go, okay, I've got to be the best I can. And by the way, the opportunities that are given to me, I have to make the most of those situations when the ball is thrown to me. Training camp, preseason games, wherever he gets those opportunities, he has to make the coaches put him in the games and give him more opportunities, period. That's what has to happen. And you just have to get those. You have to make the most of what your opportunities are and show that you can be the quarter or be the wide receiver that you were drafted to be to your point.
So I think, when you're a good football team, and I know that's new for us Browns fans to have a really good football team. That's not even a shot. It's just fact. Like, we haven't been used to this. So we get attached to certain players and we say, hey, they were drafted here. Like, what do you mean they're not going to be on the team? Well, I think we're at this point, within our fandom and just with the trajectory of this team
In reality,
that there is no tolerance for below average. And I think as fans, we need that. We want that. We should hope that if, somebody's not pulling their weight, next man up, let's move on. Let's do something else. So, I think that there's a very real world in the next couple of weeks when we get to training camp and things like that. If there is not improvement with certain players, even though that they were drafted relatively high, they may not make this team. David Bell being one of them. Cedric Tillman. Yeah, even though he was just drafted last year, if there is not that step in training camp, I could see that, especially with some of these new additions. It's entirely possible. All
right, I'm going to give you a two-part question. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Two-part question is this is my prediction, burning question, and what I think. I think Elijah Moore will be even a better player than he was last year, and he will be the escape valve for Deshaun Watson when he's in trouble. That's my first part. And then my second question is, do you think Amari Cooper will be on the Browns roster week 1?
Yes and yes. I agree with you. Elijah Moore is going to be better than he was last year. Now, Elijah Moore setting the fan expectation, right? When he came to Cleveland, I think we all thought he was going to be what Jarvis Landry was for the Cleveland Browns, and he's not. There is nobody else like Jarvis. He was that scrappy leader. I see some things here in the comments about Jarvis Landry. Fan favorite. He was a leader on the field, and that's not what Elijah Moore is. He's a shifty guy. He's undersized, but he can catch the ball. You're not going to get a ton of yards after the catch, but that's okay. You don't need him to be. I do think with more consistent quarterback play, assuming that Deshaun Watson can be the player that we traded for, and that is a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League, then yes, if we can start to see that consistency at the quarterback position, I think everybody is going to have a much better season, offensively. All of the receivers are going to be in a much, much better spot.
Elevate all their game, right?
Yes. And then in terms of Amari Cooper, yeah, I do think that they're going to get something worked out. Now, there's some intriguing trades out there. Now, if you were to say, hey, Allie, you can have Brandon Ayuk for Amari Cooper straight up, my ears are perked up. I am listening to that. There are some intriguing trades. However, I think just like we said with JOK, Nick Chubb, kind of that leadership on the field, quiet, do your job kind of guy. Amari Cooper's kind of the type of player you think about when you think about what a Cleveland Brown is, right? When you think about what you want in a Cleveland Brown, it's Amari Cooper, Nick Chubb, it's guys like that. So I do think that and I hope that Andrew Berry will do everything in their power to bring him back, make him a Cleveland Brown for the next few years, hopefully retire a Cleveland Brown, because I still think that Amari is going to get he's going to have another 1,000-yard season. I mean, that's who he is. He's consistent in that regard. Now, he's getting older, battling through some injuries. I understand that. So, like I said, if there are some intriguing trades out there where they can go youth, probably cheaper, I understand why they would do that. I totally understand why they would do that, especially bringing in Jerry Jeudy. But I don't know that those trades are necessarily realistic, right? With player for player, I don't know that that's the case.
Well, and here's the problem. It's the environment we live in the National Football League. You got people like Jefferson, and these guys that are getting these big wide receiver contracts. But you also have Amari Cooper coming off his best performance ever in a season with the Cleveland, of his career last year. So I think you have to take those things into effect. I think where the sticking point is between 2 and 3 years. I think if I'm in Amari Cooper's camp, I want that extra year and more guaranteed money. And I think the Browns are saying, no, I want to do 2 years, and this is what the contract's going to be. I think that's where the sticking point is. But as a player, I want that extra year, right? And I want some more guaranteed money. And I think that's just the problem. I don't think the Browns want to extend him out multiple years that probably Amari wants. And they have to, hopefully, like you said, Allie, meet in the middle and get this cleaned up before training camp comes. I think it could happen as early as Monday next week.
Yeah, I think it's going to be soon. I do. I don't think that this is going to be something that lingers into training camp. I really don't. I mean, Amari Cooper, he's 30 years old, battling through some injuries. So we can all see kind of a scenario where he's not a Cleveland Brown, right? Like if they get the right offer, and maybe they will. But my gut's just telling me, no, he's going to be back. This is going to be a pretty solid wide receiver room with Amari, with Jerry Jeudy, and some of these younger guys that we've got a lot of expectations surrounding. So I do. I think he's going to be a Cleveland Brown if I had to just kind of give you my gut feeling on it. Before we keep going, Dustin, why don't you tell the listeners about Caged Thunder?
Guys, this is the biggest MMA fight in Cleveland in 5 years. That's right. Caged Thunder 28 is going to be in the flats. Come down and enjoy all the major fights. Here we go. Brownies will be down there covering the event as well. That's Saturday, August 17th. Get your tickets for Caged Thunder MMA. Go get them at cagedthundermma.com. By the way, great MMA fighting. It'll be down there at Jacobs Pavilion right in the flats Saturday night. For any of you that have been to MMA fights, we've all seen them. They're exciting to watch. This will be outdoors, live, under the lights in Jacobs Pavilion. I'm excited, Allie. I'm not a huge MMA person, but I'm one of those that I've come into that space later, like in life and enjoying it. Just like for some crazy reason, I like WWE now. Like I'm excited that SummerSlam is coming. It is entertainment. It is pure entertainment. Allie, that WWE is coming. And by the way, we're trying to get the Miz on so he can talk about why Cleveland is hosting this and bringing that to Cleveland Brown Stadium at the first week of August. It's going to be a great time. But yes, come down August 17th for Caged Thunder. It's going to be great. Allie, we might have to get you some boxing matches. Get you. Oh, she's like,
I'll knock you out, Dustin. I'll knock your ass out. Hell yeah, brother.
All right. There it is, folks. There it is.
Back at it.
Okay, there's where we say we need a social media person that can just take 20 seconds of a clip, I'll knock the hell out of you.
I'm telling you, it's a good investment.
Well,
All right.
I would tell you, people that are shorter than tall people also can do an uppercut and get you pretty good. They can.
I'll jack your jaw. I got you. All right. Back to some burning questions. This one's two-part. Talking about the coaching staff. Which coach is most likely to get poached by another team, obviously by doing a good job? And then which coach, this could be head, assistant, coordinator, whoever, is most likely on the hot seat?
So his name is escaping me, but he was the head coach of this. He's our kind of advisor coach. What's his name?
Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel. And we need to do a show just talking about him, how much value I think he's going to be to this organization, and being that kind of quiet guy in the room that can observe kind of like to have two head coaches on a football team and one that can just kind of look and not be, on the inside, but can look from the outside. I think he's a guy that may get poached from us mid-season. I mean, to be quite frank, if a team's imploding, the Browns might get a call and say, hey, we know you love Mike, but he's going to come over and coach our team. And then I would say, the offensive coordinator, Dorsey. I think Dorsey would be the only one. If the offense doesn't fulfill what it's supposed to be doing this year, I think Dorsey would be the one that would be on the hot seat, because clearly this offense needs to perform this year. It has to perform at a high level. And Dorsey was not brought in to just be a doormat and be a replacement for the previous offensive coordinator. He was brought in to make some fundamental changes and get the offense top 10 in the NFL. I mean, I'm just going to call it. I think he was brought in to be innovative. We know what he's done with Josh Allen and some other guys in the National Football League. He's a good guy with quarterbacks. Correct me if I'm wrong, Eli, but I think Josh Allen had some of his best performance years under Dorsey. So I think he was also brought in to help Deshaun Watson. And if that doesn't go well, you're not going to get rid of the guy with guaranteed money, probably. You're probably going to get rid of your offensive coordinator and move in a different direction. So that's the guy that I think would be on the hot seat.
Okay. I think that's a good answer. For me, I'm going to go in a little bit of a different direction. Let's just say that the Browns defense does what they did last year, or even at a higher level. I mean, Jim Schwartz is probably not going to be here the following year. He's
good point. Yeah. Like he's in good
I'm surprised he didn't this year, right? I mean, just based off of how the Browns defense was, I think he's most likely to get poached from another team for a higher role head coach. I don't know. I can see that. Now on the hot seat, I've said this for a few years now, and I've been patient with this person, but I don't think that the wide receivers have been good enough. We talk about Cedric Tillman and his pre-snap penalties and just not being lined up in the right place and just completely costing the team, whether it's yards or timeouts or whatever. Chad O'Shea, for me, I would put him on the hot seat. I think that he is I think he's good. I think he's an average coach, but I think with the talent that you have at the receiver position, I just have had some concerns. One being, redundancy in this room. A lot of the guys can do a lot of the same things, distribution talent and skill. And just also he's the pass game coordinator / wide receivers coach. I just don't love the separation. I don't love what they're doing pre-snap. So I would have to say Chad O'Shea would be my guy on the hot seat.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point about Schwartz, and you were surprised that he was not poached last year. Some of the internal stuff and discussion that came when I got here to Cleveland was, quite frankly, his age. And what I mean by that, a lot of these guys that are head coaches in the NFL are those younger, more innovative guys, right? And so when you look at that, those are more the innovative guys that they're getting hired on in the NFL. And I have no idea what Larry's doing.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear children. Happy birthday to you. Sorry. Go Brown.
Here's to that.
So
Here's to that.
Kevin Dickerson, one of the friends of Eric Metcalf, they are tight. This is Kevin.
Nice.
So if you love Eric, you love Kevin. Let me just tell you, you'll have to meet Kevin Dickerson. Him and Eric are like, they're tight. But it's his birthday. Him and his girlfriend had a great dinner, and then he said, I'll come down and shoot some, I'll swing the golf club. So they're doing a little birthday celebration here. So he shares a birthday with David Njoku. That's,
Pretty cool.
that's not a
Pretty
bad
cool.
company to share your birthday with.
It's
And
definitely
of course, let's not talk about that I'm getting older this weekend. That's
happy early birthday to Dustin. Before we move on to the next question here, I want to tell you about our friends over at the Hartville Marketplace and Flea Market. Guys, if you haven't been, head down to Hartville. They've got a huge facility. The indoor shops, over 3 acres of indoor shopping, 50 unique shops. By the way, fully heated, fully air conditioned. So it doesn't matter what time of year you go. And they've got food, they've got coffee, they've got produce, they've got everything you could possibly need. Then head outside to the outdoor flea market. It's been open for over 80 years, since 1939. They've got 12 acres of outdoor vendor space. They've got it all. They got golf clubs, golf balls, produce, meat, cheese, everything. Anything you can think of, they've got there. So be sure to check out our friends over at the Hartville Marketplace and Flea Market.
But Allie, guess what they have this weekend? You should have your parents go down there if they're in town. They have this weekend Joel Petonio, JOK, and David Njoku are making signings on my birthday on July 13th. Literally, those 3 guys are doing signings that day. The only one I'm going down for, honestly, because I got the other guys already, Joel Petonio. Love the guy. So and guess what? He just happens to be the earliest guy down there. He gets there early. I get to spend some time with Joel Petonio. Trying to get him on the show. I think he'd be a great interview. Future Pro Bowler. There's a hot take for you. Maybe not. I think he's a future Hall of Famer.
I was going to say, what do you mean? What are we talking about here?
Future Hall of Famer.
By the way, not a hot take. Not a hot take at all. He is a Hall of Famer. Yes. All right. James put a question here in the comments. Do you think Emerson is going to make a bigger step this year? Yes, 100%. Absolutely. Hot take. Actually, it's not a hot take. I think MJ Emerson is going to be a Pro Bowler this year. I think he is an absolute dog. He is a leader on and off the field. We will have to pull the stats. I know, Dustin, that you said, the percentage when, his passes defense. I need to pull that up. I don't have that in front of me at the moment, but yes, I think MJ Emerson is definitely going to make a bigger step this year and just be such a compliment opposite of Denzel.
Yes, absolutely.
100%. Okay, I've got another question for you.
Okay, let's
finish the sentence. I can't believe Andrew Berry didn't do more at blank position.
I can't believe Andrew Berry did not do more at running back position.
Ooh, yep, there it is. That's the answer.
Allie's like, that's the answer I was looking for. Yep, and by the way, just so you guys know, we don't like, sometimes we get on the show and we're like, hey, what are we doing tonight? Like, that's literally how our shows go sometimes. Some of those are our best shows. I'm surprised we didn't go for a free agent street, some guy that on a 1-year friendly deal to bring in.
Well, we did do that.
Yeah, but I'm talking a bigger name. I'm talking a guy that like a Derrick Henry. Is that going to be terrible to have Derrick Henry with us? Like, they both, Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry, like each other. I don't like that the division, the team that I will not speak of that stole 2 Super Bowls from us, got Derrick Henry. That doesn't. This is a black and blue division, right? I just don't like that. So yes, Andrew Berry. I wish you would have got a little bit more high-profile free agent out there because here's the truth. I love Nick Chubb to death. But if he goes out there and plays and gets hurt again, he may never play another down in the National Football League again.
Let's talk about what David just said. He may be available, but that does not mean he's playing to, the level that we know him to be. So no, I think they absolutely should have done more. And I think Nyheim Hines is a solid player. I do. I think he's good. He's serviceable. And same with Dante Foreman. I think he's probably, a little past his prime, but there were some other names there that I thought would have been a good fit. Because it depends on what Jerome Ford is. I think we know who Jerome Ford is, and I think he is okay. I think that's who he is. He's an okay, average, serviceable NFL running back. And, that's certainly not a shot at him. He's going to have a great career. But when we take a look at who Nick Chubb is and our expectations of this running back room and how much we put in the run game, the focus on the run game, and I wish they would have done a little bit more there. That and linebacker, that one I will always just pound the table that we need to be better at the linebacker position. We've got a great secondary. We've got a great defensive line. Man, just wish we had one or two more free agents in the linebacker rotation. I'm always going to say it. I'm always going to say it.
So here's my burning question for you. Now we'll switch gears and go to the NFL. As we know, there's a lot of parity in the National Football League. Teams go up, teams go down, teams make the playoffs, some teams don't. What two teams, in your opinion, Allie, next year, the burning question, that made the playoffs in 2023 will not make the playoffs in 2024?
Okay, stand by. So I've got to pull up 2023 NFL playoffs because
I'm glad you're doing that. So I'm trying to remember who I'm.
Yes, I know it off, but I've had a lot going on.
And I'll tell you what, I'll make it even easier for you. Let's go AFC. What AFC team does not, or actually we'll do this. Pick one in the NFC and pick one in the AFC that will not make the playoffs this year.
All right, I've got an easy one. And then I've got kind of a little bit of a hot take one.
Okay.
For the NFC, I think the team that will not make the playoffs, that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that they got somewhat lucky last year with a more consistent Baker Mayfield, a settled in Baker Mayfield, but I just don't think that they're going to do it again. I think that actually, Tom, that's a good point. Seahawks, that's another good one here, but I still think that they're kind of a hot team. But I'm going to go with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They don't make the playoffs. And then my hot take is I think the Buffalo Bills do not make the playoffs this season.
Yeah. So for me, this is an easy one. The Pittsburgh Steelers do not make the freaking playoffs this year. The Pittsburgh Steelers do not make the playoffs. I just think their schedule's tough. I mean, it's a gauntlet down the stretch. And Allie, I think I have to agree with you. George brings up a good point. Baker's conference is kind of easy. Like when you go from the AFC to the NFC, I don't think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're old. Let's just call it for what they are. They're a very old team, and they just don't have the youth. And I think that's going to catch up to them this year. And I think there's going to be a team that jumps up. And then for me, I'll give you a little caveat of who I think would replace. I think the San Diego Chargers are going to be, the Los Angeles Chargers are going to be really good this year. And I think as much as we hate the guy that we won't talk about from up north, I think that team, he's been in the NFL. He understands it. I think he's going to get in there and he's going to get the most out of Herbert. And I think they're going to make the playoffs as a wild card.
Yeah, I agree with that, actually. I do. I think Herbert's going to have a great year. I mean, a great year. I know that they lost Keenan Allen. They lost some guys. Mike, what's his name? Mike Williams. What's his name? Oh my God. The Clemson kid. What's his name? Anyways, is it Mike Williams? The big receiver. Anyways, they lost some talent. I agree. I think that they are going to take a step up, though. They got some guys in the draft, but this a new fresh face with Jim Harbaugh that I think Justin Herbert's going to take a big step up. Even though that they lost some guys, I still think that they're on an upward path. So I agree with you. I do. Yeah. I agree.
Go ahead.
No, yeah, Mike Williams. Okay, I had it. Just guys, it's been a long week for Allie. Went through a move and
Allie, why don't you tell our listeners? So you just pop up in Pensacola, Florida. Why don't you? I mean, they might want to hear, you obviously were in South Carolina, and then you moved to North Carolina. You've lived in Nashville. You've lived in Ohio. You've kind of lived, that's your youthfulness. You've lived pretty much in multiple states and multiple cities in the last 7 years. So go ahead and tell people,
Born and raised in Northeast Ohio, went to school in Columbus. After college, I said, peace out, Ohio, not doing this anymore. Moved to Charleston, South Carolina, then to Hilton Head, South Carolina, then to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I met this guy over here, moved up to North Carolina with him. And then David, as many of you know, is in the Navy. So got new orders, and we are now down here in Pensacola, Florida, which is great. We've only been here for a couple of days, but so far we love it.
Tom mentions, let's talk about Vegas. Yeah, let's talk about our great friends over at True Fan Travel, guys. If you have not booked your flights, they have a charter. By the way, they have packages where you can go to Vegas, do all the wonderful things in Vegas. It's all, shuttle to the airport, all those wonderful things. But hey, maybe you want to get your own room. Maybe you want to stay with relatives. Maybe you want to do an Airbnb. Maybe you want to do your own trip. They have a private charter that's leaving Cleveland with Josh Cribbs. That's right. The Josh Cribbs will be departing with a bunch of Browns fans. I will be on that flight. It's going to be amazing, to Las Vegas to go down to enjoy the Las Vegas and all for what it's worth in September charter. So you can just do the flight, get down there, get your to and from the airport from truefantravel.com. And by the way, if Vegas is not in the books, how about New Orleans? How about a great trip down to New Orleans? There's a great away, fun city that's going to be there. Our good friend of the program, Kevin Mack, is going to be hosting that trip. And then Allie, he did want to say hello, and he said he's ready. He's challenging you, and he's ready for you to make your debut on the Hanford-Dixon Show with Gabby. The game in Washington, Hanford's going to host that game against the Commanders when they play the Commanders on the road. So a lot of fun things happening with our friends over at True Fan Travel. Great folks to work with. It's kind of cool that now they have these packages put together for the away games for all the fans and take it on the road.
Really cool. Yeah, that is going to be a lot of fun. And if we didn't have as much going on this year,
well, you got Jacksonville. I
mean, it's still 5 hours. It's still 5 hours. But
come on. 5 hours for your Browns? Come on.
I mean, come on. No, we've got a lot going on this year, Dustin. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. Dustin, any closing thoughts?
What do you get married or something this year? And what do you got going on?
Just planning a party or something. Good little wedding.
Well, you got to get our boxing match lined up. What date that's going to be?
We'll just do it on the wedding. We'll just do it at the reception.
Does anybody want to speak? That guy, I'm going to hit him. No.
Yeah, I'm going to just beat his ass. All right. Dustin, any closing thoughts as we wrap up on a beautiful Wednesday evening?
No, just a big thanks to everyone that came out to 5 Iron Golf tonight. They're still hitting the balls around here. Everybody's having fun, enjoying themselves. We're excited to be partners with these guys. In addition, we'll be doing some more fun stuff from here. And by the way, everybody that responded to the birthday bash this Saturday, Allie, I don't know if you heard or saw what's going on. We're doing it at the top of the 9 here in Cleveland. If anybody wants to come out, it's a rooftop bar that overlooks Cleveland. And then Larry has graciously given his bus up to put everybody on that bus and go to the after party over at the bar. So it's going to be kind of a crazy night. So don't call me on Sunday. Don't look for me on Sunday.
We're going to be doing a podcast on Sunday just to see how hung
I'm sure you would. And I would just sit there and just do it off camera and say, do you realize I'm throwing
well, hey, first off, don't act like we've never done a show not hungover before. We've done plenty of hungover podcasts.
Which ones?
Oh, all of them
Xenia.
probably.
Xenia for sure.
Oh,
Xenia.
Yeah. I'm still not recovering from that. That was tough.
Oh my God. Oh well, and I'll never forget to this day the look on your face, and this is just fun for just comic relief for our watchers. Allie and I partaked, and this is how the Here We Go Brownies one came about. We went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, and as Allie and I know, we both stayed out late drinking, and then at 6 a.m. the rock music started blaring at our windows into downtown Cleveland. And Allie literally, we're in the elevator and she said, "Do not look at me right now." And I was like, "Okay, yes, ma'am, not looking at you." She goes, "This is god awful too early."
No, that was down in, that was for the golf.
No, that was when you were like, "Don't look at me." Yeah, you're like, "Don't even look at me."
We got in the elevator and I tried to keep up with Hanford-Dixon and Eric Metcalf drinking. I mean, that was my mistake.
And flex.
Yeah, I mean, that was my mistake. And we get in the elevator and I said, "Don't even look at me."
Well, and here's the best part. Is when Allie, when Flex tried to give Allie some stuff, she goes, "I heard you didn't handle it well either." And that was like hilarious. But we were both super tired in the elevator as well, going that morning over to the Muni lot. That was a crazy morning. So
that was crazy. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. We appreciate it. Stay safe, stay healthy. And as always, Browns fans, go Browns.